Good evening. I'd like to call this Thursday, January 11th, meeting of the Tacoma School District Board of Directors to order. Please rise and join me in the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would the General Counsel please call the roll?
Yes, good evening. President Cobb.
Here.
Vice President Vial.
Here.
Director Winskill.
Here.
Director Hines.
Here.
Item 4 on the agenda is adoption of the agenda.
I move adoption.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or any comments?
It took me forever to read it. It was so long.
I know. At least a day.
Okay. All those in favor of adopting the agenda, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is adopted. Item number 5, recognition of staff, students, and community.
Good evening, President Cobb and members of the board. My name is Catherine McCarthy, and I work in the Public Information Office here at Tacoma Schools. The school board, as school board directors, you play a crucial role in promoting student learning and achievement by creating a vision, establishing policies and budgets, setting clear standards of accountability for the school systems you oversee. School board directors contribute hundreds of volunteer hours each and every year, making decisions aimed at promoting student achievement for all. In Tacoma, you, our 5 school board directors, are elected to 6-year terms. You have established a strategic plan and benchmarks that have improved academic performance and closed graduation gaps for our district's nearly 29,000 students. As board members, you set policies that encourage innovative choices so that students can find the right schools and programs to be successful. Our Governor Jay Inslee issued a proclamation designating January as School Board Recognition Month in Washington for the state's 295 school districts. It is the recommendation of Superintendent Carlos Santorno that staff, students, parents, and community members join us in recognizing you, our board members, and thanking you for your hard work and countless hours you have spent to provide our students with a solid, improving public education.
Just a brief statement. Tacoma gets a lot of recognition for the innovative and the incredible work that they do on behalf of kids. And I just want to make sure that you know we wouldn't get that without the work that you do. You don't see the work behind the scenes. You see them at the board meeting, but I'm often calling them in the middle of the night saying, hey, I need you to talk to me about this, or in the morning, and they're always responsive. They do so much work behind the scenes to get ready for the work that we do from the dais. And so I just want you to know I appreciate each one of you. You all bring a different talent and different skills and a different perspective to the board, and that's what makes the work so relevant and thoughtful. So I just want to make sure that I thank you for the work that you do. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I have a certificate.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
That was
Thank you
proclamation.
very much.
Awesome.
I'll just say thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you for all of this.
Well, thank you on behalf of the board, unless anybody has other comments they want to share. Okay, we'll just thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 6, members of the public wishing to address the board. School board members encourage public participation. Your input is appreciated. If you would like to address the school board, follow these steps. First, complete a citizen's request to speak card, which is located at the back of the auditorium. Submit the card to the school board secretary prior to the start of the meeting. Cards submitted after the public comment period has ended will not be considered this session. The superintendent will call your name when it's your turn to address the school board. Please speak into the microphone. You will have up to 3 minutes to share your comments, and you'll get notified when you have 1 minute left.
There are no public speakers today.
Oh, we didn't. Anybody still want to speak?
Nope.
Okay, moving on to item number 7, superintendent's report, and there is no report tonight.
No report.
Okay. Then item 8, the consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the
I will
consent
move
agenda?
adoption.
I'll second it.
I think Superintendent.
Yes,
Brown,
I wanted to, before the board this evening, is a recommendation to approve Bernadette Ray as the principal of Wilson High School. Will you come forward, Bernadette, to the podium? We are so proud of the work that you've done, Bernadette, for the students of Tacoma since your tenure began in 2001. I am confident that you're going to carry the Ram torch with confidence, skill, and pride. A few of Bernadette's personal and professional highlights. She's a product of Tacoma Public Schools, graduating from Stadium High School. She went on to get her BA and her master's degree in education in 2001. Right after graduating, she taught English language arts at Lincoln High School, and she's also served as the athletic director from 2009 to 2011. She worked at the Central Office Building in 2011 as the Assistant Director of Student Life. This is her 5th year as Assistant Principal at Wilson High School, and throughout these experiences, she's always demonstrated consistent passion for Tacoma students and helping each student reach their fullest potential. And I just want to announce that when the committee, she has Dan's greatest recommendation. Dan, raise your hand. Bissette, actually. And also I wanted to announce that when they went out and announced her appointment to the staff, there was cheering. So thank you, Bernadette. We can't wait to see what you're going to do. Do you want to say anything?
Just a couple of things. First of all, thank you, President Cobb, members of the board, including distinguished student members. I have been having countless conversations lately about leadership, and so I wanted to just take a moment to thank those who have helped me to become the leader I am, and those who I know will continue, please, to help me improve as a leader. So first, I'd like to recognize my family members who are here. My mom's here, Marion, in the second row.
Oh, stand up. Yes.
My brother Jeff and his wife Shannon, my pseudo-brother Corey Strozier and his wife Teresa, and the gaggle of beautiful young girls who are my nieces and my goddaughter. I'd also like to recognize my brother Matt, who's unable to be here tonight, but my brothers really are the primary reason that I became an educator. Their experiences were so drastically different from mine, especially in high school, but as a student in general, that my goal has always been to see school through multiple sets of eyes and through many lenses. And my goal is to continue to do that because that is my why. They are my why. I'd also like to thank Dr. Jennifer Cabista and Shannon McMenemy and Ron Brock, who have moved to different districts or onto retirement, but they have taught me so much about leadership. Pat Irwin, Tony Pace, and Miguel Villahermosa, and of course the superintendents have also taught me that I will always have other leaders to look forward to or to look to for advice and for what I may need as I move forward and continue to learn and grow. Lastly, to Dan Bissette, Shane Sleva, and the Wilson High School staff members who are here tonight. You being here means more than you may know, really, truly. Let's continue to guide students toward better futures, laugh together each day, and win some awards on the way. Thank you.
Any other comments from the board?
I'd like to, if I could.
Director Vial or Vice President Vial?
Thank you. Being a Wilson grad, I'm glad to see this appointment. I know that you'll carry on that legacy, but just some personal comments. One of the brothers back there I know used to hang out with my son, and they've known each other since they played football at Al Davies and on. But I've known Bernadette since high school when she was the student body president at Stadium, and she was on a youth advisory committee that the mayor of Tacoma, who was me at that time, was on. And I feel like one of her kind of parents, and to have watched her growth and watch her as she has evolved into an amazing leader for our district, and I know that you're going to do extremely well at Wilson. So just a word, I love you, and have watched you and be there. We'll all be there to help you in any way we can.
Okay, well, any other comments on the consent agenda more broadly? Okay, all those in favor of adopting the consent agenda, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion's adopted, and congratulations again. Okay, moving on to item number 9, policy matters, and there are no policy matters tonight. Item number 10, quarterly financial update. Presentations on the financial health of the district will be made during regular board meetings on a quarterly basis. Monthly financial statements can be found on the district website at tacomaschools.org, then to About and Finance.
Awesome.
And item number 11 on the agenda is curriculum and instruction. There are no curriculum and instruction matters tonight. And item 12 is business matters. 12.1, approval of contracts for district playground equipment, safety, surfacing, installation, and maintenance program.
The Chief Operating Officer recommends that the Board of Directors approve the superintendent to negotiate and award a contract for securing the purchase of playground equipment, safety surfacing, installation, along with the maintenance program as needed.
I'll move approval.
Second?
Any questions or comments about this item? Director Vial?
Chris, I really appreciate you expanding out and looking at ways that we can save money. I read what you put on there, and I applaud that. I think it's long overdue, so thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor of adopting the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is adopted 4-0. Item 13, other business, and there is none. Item 14, report to the board. 14.1, levy update.
Good evening. So I'm going to provide you with a brief levy update, and this is really more for the general public than it is for our school board. That you have put these ballot measures on the agenda, and we have approved them back in November. So you will see these on your ballots. It's hard to believe that it's been 4 years since we asked our voters for our levies to be continued, and we had an amazing approval rate. 66% voted yes in our last levy election, and so that's a really phenomenal wave of support that's going into this levy, and we're really hopeful for what this levy might bring for us. I think that it's important for us to talk a little bit about what these levies are about, and it's pretty simple. As a school district community, we believe that all students deserve equal access to educational programs, technology, and high-quality teaching in safe and secure school environments, no matter what neighborhood they live in, no matter what racial or ethnic background they have, and no matter their family income. And that is really the intent of what is behind the support provided within these levies. You'll see 2 levies on our ballots. The ballots will be mailed on January 26th. They'll be due back on February 13th. That's election day. If you're not currently registered to vote, you can do that pretty simply on the Pierce County Auditor's website. And again, the ballots will be mailed out starting January 26th. If you are registered to vote, then you will be getting those. Proposition 1 will be about a $70 million request, and it is our replacement education programs and operations levy. It funds our day-to-day operations beyond what is funded by the state. Proposition 2 will be a technology levy, and it is used to expand access to technology in all neighborhood schools, and so that we can prepare our students for the careers of tomorrow. I've had a lot of conversations with community members of late regarding our levies, and one of the big questions that has been asked is why, if the state has fully funded education, do we need to continue with levies? And what I really want to say back to that is the state has decided to fund salaries fully, and they're funding us for the things that they are considering part of their funding formula, but we are asking for enhancements that are beyond that. And I'll detail out a little better what those enhancements really pay for, but these are not going to be costs that are funded by the state. So specifically, under Proposition 1, there's a wide range of programs that we fund. Special education programs is one of those things. We get some federal funding and we get state funding for special education, but we have about a $10 million deficit. Special education needs are high in our district, and costs associated with those students are generally rather high as well, and so we rely on local levies to help fill the gap in the requirements. In the situation where we weren't able to pass a levy, we would still have these expenses. They don't go away whether this funding is available or not. What it would mean is that we would have to dip into other funding and cut back on probably basic education expenses in order to make room for these expenses. Additionally, it pays for salaries associated with librarians, nurses, counselors, family liaisons, paraeducators in many classrooms. Beyond that, it funds instructional materials and textbooks beyond what the state provides us an allocation for. And I think that it's fair to say that many of the funding formulas the state provides us an allocation for haven't been looked at in a number of years, and that if you were to look at districts across the state, you would find that many of our expenses are beyond what the state is providing, and that they probably need to reallocate resources in a different way in the future, and that's something that we will continue to push for. It also funds athletic programs, arts programs, music, expanded middle school and elementary school sporting activities, instructional materials I talked about, and preschool programs at 30 of our 35 elementary schools are also included in the levy funding. Finally, it pays for safety and security at our schools. It pays for maintenance within our school buildings, and it pays to prevent and to do investigations on harassment, intimidation, and bullying. For our Proposition 2 technology levy, as you're keenly aware, technology is ever changing. You know, every day there's a new tech bit that comes out, and there's no going backwards. We need to prepare our students for that. We need to prepare our teachers for that continual increase in technology. I read an article that said 2 out of every 3 kindergartners will hold a job that has not yet been created. And I think that that is a startling understanding of where technology is headed. And so the more that we can invest in helping people understand and helping our students grow in technology, the better prepared that they will be for the technologies and the future careers that don't exist currently. We will also be using our technology levy to help prepare students for better careers, help parents monitor student activities. Our home access center will be improved and expanded upon using these levy dollars. And I wouldn't be able to sleep tonight if I didn't talk to you about the financial component associated with our levy. I really wouldn't. The district is going to be asking on Proposition 1 for $70 million as a starting point. And for a home valued at $260,000, which is the current Tacoma median home, you currently pay $4.11, which is about $1,068 a year. And that will be declining down to $2.67, or about $700 per year. On the technology levy, we'll be asking for $24 million over a 6-year period. And for that same $260,000 home, we currently have a 48-cent per thousand request or approved levy, about $125 per year, or $10 a month. And you would be moving that, we would be moving that to 85 cents per thousand. It's about $8 more per month. It would go up to $18 per month. So the combined impact, when you look at both taxes, we currently have a tax rate of about $4.59. That would be declining down to $3.52, which would be a reduction in your Tacoma line item of $1.07. Now, when the state provided for some shifts in education funding, they've removed some of our levy authority, and they are going to be making an increase in the tax at the state level. We don't know the specific tax increase. They've come out initially and said 85 cents. I read something recently that said it could be 95 cents. Mm-hmm. But what we have come to understand is that what we are asking for in Propositions 1 and 2 would not have a detriment to our taxpayers. It would not be an increase in taxes, and it would likely be somewhat of a decrease depending on how it all works out when the state is done doing their calculations. So that said, what you'll see on the Tacoma line item of your tax return would be a decrease of about $1.07. On a $260,000 home, that's a $278 savings per home. If there's more information that is sought by those watching at home, we have a website that's dedicated to providing information, and there's email set up where you could ask specific questions if you have them. And that website is www.tacomaschools.org/vote. And please remember to vote February 13th.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from members of the board? Director Winsco?
I have a question. So the new levy is supposed to be enrichment, and in the past, we have relied on it heavily for special ed, as you said. And we've always been trying to increase those dollars, especially from the federal government. Do they consider that enrichment, and is that definition going to change?
It's a great question. We received word from OSPI that they do believe that we can consider the special education program as enrichment, and that it would not be a violation of the Constitution, or at least not as they're reading it right now. And our best understanding is that it is an eligible expense. Whether I believe that it's enrichment is probably a different conversation. I don't believe it is enrichment. I believe it's part of the basic education program, and the state should pay for those expenses.
Thank you. That's all.
Any other comments? Just for the purposes of clarifying a couple things that you said for like folks who might be listening at home. You mentioned a couple examples of things that the enrichment levy will pay for, like for example, athletics. What percentage of athletics does the state pay for?
The state pays for 0% of athletics.
So all of our athletics in the district.
Our entire athletic program is funded by levy.
And things like harassment, intimidation, and bullying investigations that you would think would be paid for some way in the formulas, those are not paid for.
Not that I'm aware of.
And things like the number of nurses you would expect to be.
Right, we do get some allocation. I think our nurse allocation is 6, and we have 24. But when you look at the high needs of students and the increased diabetes issues in schools, or significant medical issues that are coming to students that are coming to us with significant medical issues, the nursing allocation that the state provides just simply isn't putting us in a position where we can take on the risk of not adding more nurses.
So even though the state is fully funding basic education, there are a lot of basic needs that are not met within the.
Yes, that is accurate.
Preschool education.
Oh, yeah,
I think
that's a
is
great
really
example.
important.
I was going to
Yeah.
ask,
Okay,
since we got a preschooler coming up.
so it's just hard to parse, I think, if you're not living in this world all the time, what it really means for the state to fully fund basic education as compared to what you'd expect the services and supports to be available in the school, and that's what we're trying to provide.
Absolutely.
And on the increase in technology with the state's increased funding, were there any significant increases in technology funding from the state?
We received an MSOC increase, but it's very minimal. I think it's less than $1 million, and that's supposed to supply us with any material needs, technology needs, any increases in building and grounds maintenance, and a whole host of other things. So material supplies and operating costs is MSOCs.
I just have a comment. Could you, for people at home, tell them what MSOC is?
I'm sorry, I did.
That's
Sorry,
okay. I know
materials,
we know.
supplies, and operating costs
Okay.
is the acronym is MSOC.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Great.
Well, thank you for your report.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, this went quickly. Item 15, board comments or reports. Start with Director Hines,
Nothing this evening.
Director Winsco,
I don't have anything either.
Director Yall, or Vice President Yall.
That's okay. Just one thing, on Tuesday, Superintendent Zamporno was asked to present before the Senate Education Committee on what would happen if we don't have levies. And along with, it was a good panel. I was there, and along with Charlie Brown, and she talked about our size of our school district, and the gentleman she was on the panel with was from Skamania, which has 88 kids, and talked about the same kind of impact for them. They currently are using old textbooks. Roslyn also was there, which was very helpful, that go back to when President Ford was president. So about how important these levies are to our district. Seattle addressed the issue of the special education, which Roslyn was talking about the number of percentages and how that's set, which is an artificial basically an artificial floor that's been set for a number of years. So anyway, it was very informative, and Carla did, as usual, an awesome job. And I was interested in watching the committee, and it was very receptive to every one of us across the board there as to what we had to say, really understanding now, I think, the real significance of the levies to all the school districts, not just some that they had heard from during the session, from the tiniest to the largest. I think that message was delivered and loud and clearly to those people there. One of the members of the Education Committees that form is Senator Rolfus, who is now chair of the Senate Ways and Means Committee, and really understands what the issues are, and she indicated that to me later in a little note about when she came up and met with our legislators, which I was thought it was very gracious of her to do so, and us at our legislative meeting. So I think at least in the Senate, our legislators across the state, and there was some from Eastern Washington also sitting there, really now do understand the impact of levies and what it really does for maintaining a high quality of education, from the little Skamania with 88 kids to Seattle with over 60,000. So Carla, thank you for representing us so well.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Any report from our student board members?
No report.
Okay. I don't have a real report, and this is a kind of a overdue kudos comment I think I want to share. So it was a couple weeks ago. It was a really, really foggy morning, and in the route that I was taking that day, I just happened to go by several schools on the way, and it was very foggy, so foggy that you really couldn't see very far in front of you. So I just want to give a shout out to our school patrol, who was around many of those schools with their headlights on, making it so you could see the walkway. So I just want to thank the school patrol, because it was really unsafe, and the fact that they were making a light in those areas so that kids could walk safely. I just appreciated that in the several schools that I just happened to pass that day, so thank you. But I don't have any other report. So moving on to item number 16, announcement of future board meetings. We will meet for a study session on Thursday, January 18th, 2018 at 6 p.m. And Thursday, January 25th, 2018 at 6 p.m. we'll meet for our regular board meeting. And item 17 is executive session, and there is none tonight. And with that, we are at number 18, and we are adjourned.
Good job. Thank you.